So the 1.5 patch was just released on experimental, and for me the coolest feature is the ability to assemble heavy weapons wherever you want. So for this demonstration I parked a Humvee here and I placed in its trunk an M3 tripod and an M2 HB machine gun. First I take the tripod, and when it's taken it appears as a backpack on the plane. Then I move on to place it and drop it. Now take the machine gun and place it next to the tripod. Now to assemble it I have to switch to the shovel and I have to look at the center point of where the gun will be attached on the tripod. Then you see this preview appearing, and then it depends on where my character is facing while looking at the thing, which will determine the rotation of the gun. And now it's ready to use, you just have to load it. Because it doesn't come preloaded with machine gun ammo. Now I think it's a really cool feature because it allows you to, without having the high profile of a construction truck that you have to drive somewhere and place the sandbag structure around the machine gun and then have to hide the truck somewhere or just leave it. So it removes the gaminess of that. However, I think it's still too gamey because developers, I think they avoided some animation work on the whole system, which I think they should change. So let me show you how I think it should be. Okay, let's say, let's first assemble it. Okay, so when you transport one of the items, let's say the tripod, when you transport it on your back, then it's okay that it's a backpack. Okay, you can say that makes sense. Now when you want to deploy it, there should be a change, and it would require some animation work. Let me show you what I mean. I'll take the landmine to demonstrate it. Now let's say I want to place a tripod somewhere. And in real life, you'd probably take it from a backpack, you put it in your hands, and you would plop it down. And the game already does it for certain heavy items like landmines. So for example, if you take the anti-tank mine on the American side, that thing is 14.8 kilos, I think. Is it? It's 14.2 kilos. And the tripod is 18 kilos, so it's almost the same weight. And for that, they actually have a custom animation. When you place it, you see that he plops it down like that. And the same they should do for tripod. You should hold it in your hands. It should be like an animation for holding it. And then a plop down animation. Now, it doesn't have to be super complex, because in real life, it would probably take more than a few seconds to place it correctly. Just a plop down animation. And the same for the machine gun. So when you equip it to place it, the character should hold it in front of himself. Like not in the shooting, holding position, but more like in carrying a really heavy stick with both hands. So first you would place the tripod. Okay, imagine the tripod is placed. And then you have the machine gun. I'm going to take another landmine to demonstrate what I mean. So let's imagine the character is holding the machine gun instead of the landmine. Then the player would move up to it, and then you should see the preview that should be based on how the tripod was placed. So you should be able to reorient the entire gun after the tripod is placed. You would have to rotate it, put it, then you left click, and then he would plop the gun down on the thing. Now in real life it probably would be more involved. We have to like secure it with those little things attached to the chain. I'm not sure what the English term for that is. And because that would be much more intuitive than it is currently. Because currently it's really convoluted and confusing. Let's say you want to assemble it currently. Let's say the machine gun is in a proximity. Now the thing is, let's imagine you have the machine gun on your back. Now you still can't place it. Even if you take the shovel out, notice you get the preview for placing it, but the machine gun is missing. So there's two gamey things here. You have to put the machine gun on the ground next to it. That's the first gamey thing, which makes it feel like it's a crafting recipe in a survival game. And that's really bad. And the second problem is you have to use a shovel to assemble it. Why would I have to use a shovel to assemble a machine gun? For example, when the game, you could say it's an abstraction, but in the game when you repair a truck, there's an animation using a wrench. You wouldn't use a shovel for that. So why are you using a shovel to assemble a machine gun? I think it's unrealistic. And I think it goes back to squads and Project Reality. Because the first game, I think the first realistic military FPS type game that had it, the commercial game was Squad. And its predecessor was the Battlefield 2 mod, Reality mod. And I think in Battlefield 2 there was no no code structure for assembling items on the ground. So I think they invented some type of hack where you basically use shoveling to erect structures. And that was carried into Squad as a convention that in that type of game you shovel to erect stuff. And Reforger shouldn't get attached to that because it's unrealistic, and they have the animation systems in place to do something more detailed. And I think it would be more intuitive too, because like imagine you walk up to a situation, you put the tripod down, tripod is down, then you take the machine gun, plop it down, then the next player comes in, loads the gun, and you start shooting. And there's also a problem with loading the gun. So for example, let's say you assemble it. Let's assemble it again. Okay, now let's say you want to load the weapon. Now, in real life, imagine you have a machine gun ready, you have the machine gun ammo box in the trunk. Okay, let's say you go to where your ammo supplies, you go, check. Now you want to take the ammo. Now you can't take it because you don't have an ability to put it in your hands. And it's a 15 kilo box, which means you can carry it. It's not comfortable, but you can carry it with both hands. Now in this game, you have to equip a backpack, then put that thing in there, and then you can go to the gun and load it up. See how it's also unrealistic because of the lack of more support for two-handed holding of items. So ammo boxes, for example, should also have the same system where you can just grab it from somewhere, like with both hands, quickly run over to the machine gun, and put it next to the machine gun. And then when it's on the ground, like within reach of where the gunner is, when he presses reload, he should be able to use that item to reload the weapon.